Hello friends, today I start with a new chapter, Transition and Inner Transition Element in Chemistry. So now we first of all start with the introduction part. So what is exactly transition element? How they place in periodic table? That we have to see in introduction part. So first, transition element belonging to the D block of the periodic table. As you know, the periodic table are divided into S, P, D and F block element. So transition element belonging to the D block element. So first of all, in this chapter, we go through the transition element. Then we, in our lecture, we continue with our lanthanide series or inner transition series. But first of all, we start with the transition element. So transition element belonging to the D block of the periodic table. So now, as per IUPAC convention, transition element has incomplete d subshell, means their electron are entered into the d orbital, or it may give the cation with a incomplete d subshell, and this d block element are placed between S and P block element. Means on the left hand side there is a S block element, on the right hand side there is a P block element. So in periodic table they are placed between the group of 3 to 12. So there are total 4 transition series. First, that is your 3D series, then second one is your 4D series, third one is your 5D series, and second one is your 6D series. Now, as you know, 3D series means what? That 3D series in which your electron are present in n-1 d orbital. Okay, means if in your periodic table your transition element placed between the group 3 to 12 and period that is from 4 to 7. So first we start with the first transition series, that is 3D series. Now why it is 3D series only? Because it plays in a fourth period. Okay, so in this case now n-1 is what? 4 minus 1 means 3D. So your 3D first series is nothing but 3D series which plays in a period 4. Okay, in that the series is start from scandium to zinc. Scandium atomic number is 21 and zinc atomic number is 30. That is the last element which is present in this 3D series. Now in this N is your ultimate shell. So fourth period means that is the ultimate shell. And n-1 means electron entering into the 3D series. So that's why the elements starting from scandium to zinc enter in a 3D series. Next is our 4D series. 4D series means what? They place in a period 5th. Okay. And series start from, that is yttrium atomic number 39 to cadmium atomic number 48. This is our second series, that is nothing but 4D series. Now third series is our 5D series, which is start from lanthanum to mercury. Okay, and then enter into the 7th period. So that is our fourth series, nothing but 6D series, which is start from actinium to cerium. Now what happened? What is the general electronic configuration for transition element then? See, n-1 d, and in d subshell, d orbital have a capacity of accommodation of electron that is from up to 10. So that is why your general electronic configuration for any transition series, you write it as n minus 1, d 1 to 10, and ns is 1 to 2. Means in s orbital you may have 1 or 2 electron. Okay, so whenever you study your first 3D series, so at that time n minus 1 is nothing but 3D, and the respective electron enter into that subshell, and ns, that is nothing but your 4s. That is just an example to explain you. Now position. One thing is always remember the positions of your transition series, transition element in periodic table. See this periodic table. In this periodic table, first is our, that is 3D series, that is from scandium to zinc. This is our first series, scandium to zinc. Okay, now if you observe, your transition element are placed as from period of group 3 to 12. Okay, and period is from 4 to 7. Now your first 3D series, and if you observe, your transition element are placed between your S block element and P block element. Okay, so their properties are always change, gradual change from S block to P block through D block element. So this is your S block element, this is your P block element, this is your D block element. Now this is your first transition series, that is start from scandium to zinc. Now next we see, that is electronic configuration. So as you know, electronic configuration, so electronic configuration is what? That is nothing but the electron that are arranged in the form of your s and p orbital. Now as the 3D series begin with the scandium and end with the zinc, means in this case your inert gas is what? That is argon come first, whose atomic number is 18. Then your scandium come. Okay, that's atomic number is 21. So when you write the argon noble gas configuration, so you write it as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. Okay, so before scandium, calcium is come. That is atomic number is 20. Means it belong to S block element of a fourth period, and whose electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2. So now when you move to the scandium, so at that time your electronic configuration, that is atomic number is 21. So your electronic configuration is what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, then 3d1, and then 4s2. So in this writing electronic configuration, you can write it as scandium 21 atomic number, which is equal to argon, that is up to argon, that is 18 electron. So remaining only you have 3 electrons. So you have to place in 3d1 4s2. So see, in this case we given general electronic configuration. As you know, General electronic configuration for any transition series is nothing but n minus 1 d 1s to 10 electron can be accommodated into n s1 to 2. So see first transition series, that is your 3D series. So 3D series, here your ultimate shell will be 4. So the 3D for 3D series, you write it as argon is your inert gas, then you write it 3D 1 to 10 electron and 4s2. This is for 3D series. Then for 4D series. For 4D series, you take inert gas, that is krypton. Okay, and then you write it as 4D 1 to 10 5 0 to 2. Similarly for 5D series, you write it as xenon, that is your inert gas, then write it 5D 1 to 10 and 6s2. So next is your 6D series. So 6D series, radon is your inert gas and enter 6D 1 to 10 7s2. If your observation is very proper, so when you write 3D series, so your electron entering in 3D orbital, that is from 1 to 10. So all element according to their atomic number accommodate electron, that is in a d orbital. 4D series, so you write it as 4D 1 to 10. Similarly for 5D, similarly for 6D series. Now we come across through the concept, that is electronic configuration of chromium and copper. Now if you observe your 3D series, that is starting from scandium. Scandium atomic number is 21, titanium atomic number is 22, vanadium atomic number 23, chromium 24, manganese 25, iron 26, cobalt 27, nickel 28, copper 29 and zinc 30. Now we focus on chromium and copper because they showing some unexpected electronic configuration. Means the observed electronic configuration and expected electronic configuration both are different for chromium and copper for these two elements of this 3D series. So we start with why they are showing some different electronic configuration than expected. So first start, that is the expected electronic configuration for chromium. So as atomic number is 24, okay, so it's showing differ from the observed configuration, means expected electronic configuration is different than your observed electronic configuration. So this can be explained on the basis of concept of additional stability associated with a completely filled and half filled subshell. Now what is the capacity of d orbital? So d orbital can accommodate maximum 10 electrons. So that is a full filled. And what is the half filled of d orbital then? 5 electron. So that is a half filled. Means your compound of the respective element get additional stability if it achieve the completely filled or half filled subshell. Means in their orbital, d orbital, if it have a 5 electron, so it will acquire a extra stability, or if it have 10 electron, then also it acquire a extra stability. So now see the general electronic configuration of element of 3D series is what? 3D 1 to 10 4s2. But there is an exception only for a chromium and copper. Now what happened for chromium? When you write 24, so you write it as electronic configuration argon 3d4 4s2. that is the expected one, because what is the atomic number? 24. So first you write argon, that is 18. So remaining there are 6 electron. So you arrange it in 4s, you given 2 electron, and for 3d you given as 4 electron. Means for chromium electronic configuration is argon 3d4 4s2. That is expected one. But what happened? The 3d orbital 3d subshell have a 4 electron. So your 4s2, out of 2 electron in 4s, one is shifted to the 3d one. So that's why your observed electronic configuration for chromium is what? Argon 3d5 4s1. Means your D have a half filled electrons. Means they attain additional stability. So that's why your chromium now get extra stability due to the half filled subshell. Okay, because why this is happen? Your 4s electron can shift to the 3d, because 3d and 4s orbital are very close in energy. So that's why your one of the electron from 4s get shifted to the 3d. Similar case is happen with the copper. So what is the atomic number for copper? That is 29. So when you write expected electronic configuration for copper, you write it as argon 3d9 4s2. So as here chromium, here copper also can shift its one of the 4s electron to 3d and get extra stability due to the completely filled subshell. So now observed electronic configuration for copper is what? That is argon 3d10 4s1. So this is the favorite question which is asked in your board exam also. Showing the electronic configuration of chromium and copper. So at that time you have to explain why chromium and copper, only these two elements, showing different observed electronic configuration as compared to the expected one. And this can be explained by considering that they have attained extra stability due to the completely filled and half filled subshell. Means they can arrange the element due to the very low energy difference between your 3d and 4s orbital. Okay. Now next is electronic configuration of 3d series of d block element. Now see, in this table you start from scandium and you are end up with a zinc. So see table very clearly. That is, first part is element, then symbol, atomic number, expected, means that is just a theoretical one, and observe that we can see. Okay, so first start with a scandium. So symbol is Sc. Atomic number is 21. So expected electronic configuration is what? Argon 3d1 4s2. And what is your observed electronic configuration here? So argon 3d1 4s2. If you observe scandium having same, that is expected also and observe also. Both electronic configuration are one and the same. Then second element of this 3D series is titanium, whose symbol is Ti. So atomic number is 22. So what is the expected electronic configuration for titanium? That is inert gas, nothing but argon 3d2 4s2, and its expected and observed configuration both are same. Now next is vanadium. Vanadium symbol is capital V, atomic number is 23, and its electronic configuration is argon 3d3 4s2. So observed and expected both are same for vanadium. Now see the chromium. So chromium symbol is Cr capital C, small r. Atomic number is 24. Expected electronic configuration is argon 3d4 4s2. This is our expected one, but that is not observed. So observe is what? Argon 3d5 4s1. Then come is manganese. Manganese, as symbol is Mn. Atomic number is 25. Expected electronic configuration is argon 3d5 4s2. So observe is also same. For iron, symbol is Fe. Atomic number is 20C. And expected and observed both are same electronic configuration, that is argon 3d6 4s2. Then come cobalt. Cobalt symbol is Co. Atomic number is 27. Expected and observed both electronic configuration are same, that is argon 3d7 4s2. For nickel, symbol is Ni. Atomic number is 28. And expected and observed, that is argon 3d8 4s2. Observed and expected both are same. Now see for copper. Symbol is Cu. Atomic number is 29. So your electronic configuration is expected is different, that is argon 3d9 4s2. But observed is argon 3d10 4s1. So that is the difference. And for zinc, symbol is Zn. Atomic number is 30. So expected one and observed one both are same. That is nothing but argon 3d10 4s2. If you see this table, so what is your observation here? Only chromium and copper showing different observed electronic configuration as compared to expected. So in exam they ask you, why chromium and copper showing different observed electronic configuration as compared to your expected one. Now next we see the oxidation state of the first transition series element. Now first of all, what is the meaning of oxidation state? That you know. That is the number of electron that can be donated to form a positively charged cations. Okay. So see, in this first table, that is element is first starting with a scandium. So what is its electronic configuration? That is 3d1 4s2. So which are the two oxidation state that can be shown? That is +2 and +3. For titanium, how many oxidation state they can show? That is +2, +3 and +4. For vanadium, what is your oxidation state? +2, +3, +4, +5. For chromium, that is from +2 to +6. And for manganese, that is from +2 to +7. Then iron. Iron showing oxidation state from +2 to +6. Cobalt showing oxidation state from +2 to +5. And nickel, that is from +2 to +4. Copper showing +1 and +2 oxidation state. And zinc showing +2 oxidation state. If you observe in this table, your manganese showing more oxidation state, means it's showing from +2 to +7 oxidation state. Okay. So why this means that is the transition state have a ability to showing variable oxidation state in their compound. That is it's one of the property. Okay. So how it means it form +2 or +3, that we have to see here. So what happened? The loss of electron from 4s and 3d orbital lead to the formation of a ion. Okay, so transition element always showing variety of oxidation state in their compound. Now see, when we take example, that is they forming M+ ion. How they form M+ ion? So they lost one of the electron from 4s. Okay, when they showing M2 plus, so at that time they lost 2 electron from 4s, while whenever they showing M3 plus, M4 plus, so at that time they lost the electron from unpaired 3d and 4s electron. So that's why they showing variable oxidation state. So as the from above table, it is clear that if you take example for scandium, now it's showing +2 and +3 valency. So how it show +2? Because it lost 2 electron from 4s. Okay, similarly it's showing +3. Why it's showing +3? Because 2 electron from 4s and 1 electron from unpaired 3d. So that's why it's showing +3. Now we take example that is for manganese. Manganese showing oxidation state that is from +2 to +7. So +2 because it lost 2 electron from 4s. +3 because it lost 2 electron from 4s, 1 from 3d. Then +4 because it lost 2 electron from 4s and 2 from 3d. +5 because it lost 2 electron from 4s and 3 electron from 3d. So for 7 also there is a loss of electron from 4s, 2 electron from 4s and 5 electron from 3d. So in this way, why they showing variable oxidation state? Because they can lose electron from 4s as well as from unpaired 3d orbital. So scandium, if you take example, has only one unpaired electron and it shows 2 oxidation state, while manganese with a 5 unpaired d orbital electron, so showing 6 different oxidation state. So these are the reason why your scandium showing only 2 oxidation state and why your manganese showing 6 different oxidation state. So for manganese there is oxidation state from +2 to +7. Okay. So the element which give the greatest number of oxidation state occur in or near the middle of the series, and that is nothing but your manganese, which showing oxidation state that is from +2 to +7. So these are the reason why your transition element showing variable oxidation state. Okay. So first so in your starting element of that transition series may showing some less amount of oxidation state. Means for scandium they showing only just 2 oxidation state. But if you compare for manganese, that is middle of your table, middle of your series, that showing highest oxidation state, that is nothing but up to 6 different oxidation state they can be shown. Now see this table. In this table also they explain you, that is they start from scandium to zinc. So when it is M, means when they are present as a metal, so at that time that is your expected and observed expected configuration, that is the we are taken for this. So for chromium, if you seen, we taken as 3d5 and 4s1, and for copper you just taken as 3d10 and 4s1. Rest of the element have same observed and expected electronic configuration. So we written as writing in our electronic configuration term. So now M plus. So they shown the 1 electron transfer from s orbital. So if you seen, there is a 1 electron loss from 4s orbital for each of the element. Okay. So now what happened? Your scandium, that is previously in a metal form it is 3d1 4s2. Now in M plus 1 it become 3d1 4s1. Okay. For M2 plus it become 3d1 only. Why? Because if you compare metal in metal, scandium in metal state and scandium in +2 oxidation state. So metal state you have a 2 electron. So in plus 2 state you lost both of the electron from 4s. So that's why your scandium become 3d1. Okay. Another example that we take that is chromium. So what is its electronic configuration in metal state? That is 3d5 4s1. So when it become m plus 1, so it become 3d5 4s0. And when it is m2 plus, so at that time it is 3d4. Okay. Now next we seen that is another element, that is copper. So in metallic state, means in a metal form or in a neutral form, it have a electronic configuration that is 3d10 4s1. So m plus 1 now become 3d10 4s0, and whenever it is m2 plus means 3d9. Okay. So see, for m3 plus, if you observe, only titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel can show in the plus 3 oxidation state. Okay. Now we start with the physical property, and that we have to see for only first transition series. So which are the physical property that you know? The properties that are, they are hard, lustered, malleable, ductile, and form alloy with other metal. So that is nothing but your physical properties. Okay. So your transition element are nothing but metal only, and they are showing the characteristics of metal. So which property that metal show? That property is similarly shown by your transition series also, transition element also. So which are that property? So they are hard, lusters, malleables, ductile, and form alloy with other metals. They are a good conductor of a heat and electricity. Then only zinc, means except zinc, cadmium, mercury and manganese, all the other transition elements have one or more typical metallic structure at an ambient temperature. Means except these four elements, rest of the transition element have one or a more typical metallic structure. Okay, this transition element, but exception is what? Zinc, cadmium and mercury are very hard and have a low volatility. Then they possess high melting and boiling point. If you see in this table, tungsten, molybdenum, chromium have a highest melting point. Now next is we have to see there are some trend in atomic properties of your first transition series. So which are that atomic property we are cover in this trend? So first is atomic and ionic radii. Second one is your ionization enthalpy. Third one is metallic character. Fourth one is magnetic property. Fifth one is color. Sixth one is catalytic property. And seventh one is the formation of interstitial compound. Means to study this transition element, we have to see its trend of some of the atomic property which now we have to discuss here. Okay, so first one is atomic and ionic radii. Second one is ionization enthalpy. Third one is metallic character. Fourth one is magnetic property. Fifth one is color. Sixth one is catalytic property. and seventh one is formation of a interstitial compounds. And last property is formation of alloy. Now, first we start with the trend in atomic properties of a first transition series. So we start with the atomic and ionic radii. So you observe in this figure. So what is our atomic radii of an element of this transition series? Decreases gradually, that is from left to right. If you observe in this figure, that is from scandium to zinc, there is a decrease in atomic radii. Means for scandium, your atomic radii will be more. And for zinc, it is minimum. Means what? The atomic radii gradually decreases from left to right. Okay. Now, as we move across the transition series, that is from left to right, so nuclear charge is increases by 1 unit at a time. Okay. And the last electron enters the penultimate shell, that is nothing but your n-1d subshell. So our d orbital is a less penetrating or a more diffuse. So therefore d electron offer smaller screening effect. Means as a result, what happen? The effective nuclear charges also increases as the atomic number increases along the transition series. Means as your d orbital is less penetrating or more diffuse, they doesn't have that much of screening effect on your electrons. So that's why your nuclear charges increases. So as the atomic number increases, and that's why your atomic radii decreases gradually across the transition series from left to right. Okay, so these are the reason why your atomic radii decreases gradually across the transition series from left to right. So what you have to write in that? So as we move across the transition series, our nuclear charges increases. As our last electron enter in d orbital, and d orbital are less penetrating and more diffuse, so that's why they have a very smaller screening effect. And due to the effective nuclear charges, your atomic number as the increases across the series, but your atomic radii decreases. Okay, as number is increases, your effective nuclear charges also increases, but your atomic radii decreases. Next we see what is ionic radii. So what is your ionic radii? Now see, in this case there is a ion formation. Means for scandium metal, so atomic radius is given, that is 164 picometer, and whenever scandium is present in +3 oxidation state, so its ionic radii become 73. So what is your observation? That is from metal to ionic form, its radii will decreases. Okay, so now in this table, the first transition series, your ionic radii can be studied on the basis of two factors. Means first you have to consider element with having same oxidation state, or second you have to consider the same element have a different oxidation state. Means what is the meaning of that? Now see, if you consider this element, okay, in same oxidation state, means what? You have to take this element in M2 plus form. So what is your observation? Ionic radii is what? Gradually increasing, then it start decreasing. Okay. Now you consider any one of the element in its different ionic form. So you consider for chromium. Okay. So for chromium, in +2 oxidation state, ionic radii 82, and in +3 oxidation state, ionic radii is 62. Means what? Its ionic radii decreasing. Okay. So you consider that is ionic radii for different element of same ionic form, means same oxidation form, or you consider atom that is same atom but in different oxidation state or different ionic form. Okay. Now next, that is the element of first transition series showing variable oxidation state. As you know, we studied in a previous part also. So the trend in ionic radii can be studied with respect to two factors that we discussed as earlier. That is element having same oxidation state. That is our first consideration. Or considering various oxidation state of a same element. Means first we compare, that is our series, but the element present in +2 form. Okay. Then second we consider chromium as a single element but present in a different oxidation state. Okay. So first we consider that is element having same oxidation state. So what is our observation? So for the same oxidation state, with increase of a nuclear charge, a gradual decrease in ionic radii was observed. Okay. The trend is pronounced for the divalent ion of a first transition series. Means what? In this case, chromium comes first, whose atomic number is 24. Copper comes later, that's whose atomic number is 29. So what happened? As the nuclear charge increases, okay, across the period from left to right. So chromium have a greater nuclear charge as compared to your copper. So what is your observation? The nuclear charge increases, your ionic radii will decreases. So that's why chromium and copper, they are taken in a same oxidation state, that is in a +2. So chromium have a ionic radii that is 82 picometer, but copper, which is in a +2 oxidation state, have a ionic radii that is 72 picometer. This is our first consideration, in which we are taken two different elements but in a same oxidation state. Now we are taking various oxidation state of a same element. So for this we are taken, that is for the same oxidation state with a increase in nuclear charges. So ionic radii decreases. Now see, in this case what happened? The oxidation state of a same element shows difference in 1 unit. Means now we consider that is M present in M plus, M2 plus, M3 plus and M4 plus and so on. So what is our observation? There is a difference only of a 1 unit, that is +1 to +2, there is 1 unit change. +2 to +3, 1 unit change. +3 to +4, 1 unit change. So what is your observation? With a higher oxidation state, effective nuclear charges also increases. So what is our meaning? That is, as the effective nuclear charge increases, our ionic radii decreases. So that's why your ionic radii decreases from M2 plus to M3 plus. Okay. So ionic radii of a transition element are smaller than the ionic radii of representative element of the same period. Okay. Means we taken that is example for chromium also. In that we see that is M2 plus whose ionic radii will be 82, and for M3 plus its ionic radii will be 62. Means as the effective nuclear charges increases, their ionic radii will decreases. Now we start with ionization enthalpy. Okay. So before starting with our second atomic properties, that is ionization enthalpy, what do you know, what is the meaning of ionization enthalpy? That first of all you know what is ionization enthalpy. So this is the amount of energy required to remove the electron in its outermost shell. Okay, so that is nothing but your ionization enthalpy. So ionization enthalpy means that is no now. That is the energy required to remove the electrons. Okay. So ionization enthalpy of a transition element are intermediate between your S block and P block element. As you know, in your periodic table, transition element are placed between S block element and P block element. So that's why your ionization enthalpy are also intermediate between your S block and P block element. Okay. So this suggested that transition element are less electropositive than the element of group 1 and 2, and depending upon the condition they form ionic or covalent compound. Okay. So which forming ionic compound and which one forming covalent compound? So that depend upon oxidation state. So the element which showing lower oxidation state forming ionic compound, while with a higher oxidation state they are forming covalent compound. So first of all, in this PPT, what do you know what is ionization enthalpy? That is the amount of energy required to remove the electron. And your ionization enthalpy of transition series are always intermediate between S block and P block element. But one thing is, remember, they are less electropositive than group 1 and group 2 element. And this in this transition series, they can form ionic or covalent compound depending upon the oxidation state. Lower oxidation state compound showing ionic compound formation, and higher oxidation state compound element showing covalent compound formation. Now ionization enthalpy table, as you see in this table. So there are first ionization enthalpy, second ionization enthalpy, third ionization enthalpy. Okay. Now see, in this table, if you consider for scandium, your IE1 is 632, IE2 is 1245, IE3 is 2450. Means what? Its ionization enthalpy is increases. Okay. First ionization enthalpy is less as compared to second ionization enthalpy, as compared to third ionization enthalpy. So this is observation among the element. Okay. But now you seen only first ionization enthalpy, but for scandium to zinc. So what is your observation? For scandium it is 632. Then its value goes on increasing till zinc. Means ionization enthalpy is increases from left to right in your transition series. Okay. So the atom of the element of your third transition series possess 4f orbital. Okay, your third transition series possess the 4f orbital. So that 4f orbital showing poor shielding effect, and this is due to what? This is due to its peculiar diffuse shape. So what happened? The valence electron experiences greater nuclear attractions. Okay, so greater amount of energy is required to ionize the element of a third transition series, and the ionization enthalpies of the element of a third transition series are therefore much higher than first and second transition series. See, in this table we just study the ionization enthalpy for first transition series, but when we move to the second transition series or third transition series, so what is our observation? So first transition series have IP that is lower than your second. Second have IP ionization enthalpy lower than third. So if you consider for third transition series, so what happened in that? They have a 4f orbital which is filled. Okay, so 4f orbital showing poor shielding effect due to their peculiar shapes. So that's why the valence electron experiences greater nuclear attraction. So you required a large amount of energy to remove that electron. So that's why your third transition series have a much higher ionization enthalpy as compared to your first and second transition series. Now we start with our third atomic property, that is nothing but metallic characters. So we start with a metallic character. So low ionization enthalpy and vacant d orbital in outermost shell are responsible for the metallic character of the transition element. So these are the two characteristics. So low ionization enthalpy and vacant d orbital in the outermost shell. So that's why your transition element are showing the metallic character. So this behavior or this favors the formation of a metallic bond, and thus this element show typical metallic properties. Okay, so one thing, two important things, that is due to the low ionization enthalpy and vacant d orbital are responsible for this element to showing metallic properties. So the hard nature of this element suggested that there is a formation of a covalent bond in them, and this is possible due to the presence of n-1 d electron in this element. Means this element nature is hard nature. Why you explain? This is explained on the basis of their unpair n-1 d electron, and there is a covalent bond in them. Okay, as you studied in your solid structure, your metal can exhibit the different types of structure, that is nothing but hexagonal close pack, cubic close pack, or body center cubic lattice. So these nearly all transition metal have a simple hexagonal close pack, that is HCP, cubic close pack, or body center cubic lattice. So that's why they exhibit a true metals. Now in this transition series, as the melting point steadily increases up to D5, means starting from scandium to up to manganese, there is a increase in melting point. Okay, and from manganese towards zinc, its melting point once again decreases. So in all these series, chromium, molybdenum, tungsten showing highest melting point. Means for first transition series, chromium showing highest melting point. For second, molybdenum showing highest melting point. And for third transition series, where tungsten showing highest melting point. Okay. So manganese and technetium display anomalous values of a melting point. Means after this element, as the atomic number increases, melting point decreases regularly. So whenever you just summarize what is melting point, so in that what are the point you have to cover? That is due to low ionization enthalpy and vacant d orbital, the outermost shell are responsible for metallic character of the transition series. Okay, and this nature or this favors the formation of a metallic bond, and that's why they are showing metallic property. If any of the transition element are hard in nature, so what they tells you that they are forming covalent compounds or covalent bond in them. And why this is possible? Because they have n-1 d electron in this element. Okay, and nearly all these elements are showing the specific, that is your characteristics of your true metal, that is they are showing lattice, that is simple hexagonal close pack, cubic close pack, or body center cubic lattice. Means the property which are showing by your true metal, that is also shown by this transition element. Now in this transition element, if you observe melting point, so there is a steadily increase up to D5 configuration. So that is the reason in your first transition series, chromium showing highest melting point, in second your molybdenum, and in your third transition series, tungsten will showing highest melting point. Only manganese and technetium display anomalous values of a melting point. And as after this atomic number increases, your melting point decreases regularly. Okay. So for melting point, keyword is what? Low ionization enthalpy, vacant d orbital. And one more thing, that is they are showing true metallic characteristics because they showing your various that is your shape, means that is the crystalline nature. So they showing the specific form, that is hexagonal close pack, cubic close pack, okay, or body center cubic, means BCC. And at the same time for melting point, what you have to write? There is an increase in melting point up to D5, but then the decrease as we observe as the atomic number increases. So chromium, molybdenum and tungsten showing highest melting point, but manganese and technetium showing anomalous values of melting point. Now in this way we completed. There are three properties. First one is atomic and ionic radii. Second one is ionization enthalpy. Third one is your metallic character. So for atomic radii, what is your summarize? That is across the period left to right, as nuclear charges increases, your atomic radii decreases. Ionic radii is also decreases when you observe for increase in effective nuclear charges. Okay, in that we consider two cases, that is element with a different element with same oxidation state, and second one that is the same element but with a different oxidation state. Okay, now next is ionization enthalpy. As ionization enthalpy increases across the period left to right. Okay, but as we move to first, second, third transition series, IP, ionization enthalpy is increases. Then third one, we study the metallic character. Okay, thank you for listening me.